Awesome. Well, first off, Brad, Elevar team, thank you for putting this together. It's been amazing. Thank you for the guys that came out to the Chew on This event last night. Hopefully it was pretty solid. You got to meet some people there. So
before we get into it,
yeah, of course.
We need intros first for both of you, Alex and you.
Okay, I'll go first. My name is Ash Melwani, co-founder and CMO of a health and wellness brand called Obvi. I've been running for 4 years now with my co-founder Ron over there. And I'm going to talk today about some of the mistakes we made over the last year or so that we can level the playing field and show you kind of how we fix these things and move onward. So,
thanks, Ash. I'm Alex Stark. I'm one of the co-founders and CMO at Ogee, which is a certified organic skincare and color cosmetic brand. We started out D2C on our website and a little on Amazon, and now we're omni-channel and kind of grown a lot in the past few years. And yeah, I'm gonna kind of go off what Ash says here about our programs that have helped us grow.
Amazing. Cool. Awesome. All right. Who am I? Why should you care? Brief introduction. Started my career in marketing at a startup called Shreds. Back in the day, you know, this company kind of ramped up from 0 to 100 million in revenue very quickly. So that's where I learned marketing. Facebook ads was becoming a thing. And so basically after that, took my talents to another startup called Mohawk Group, which basically focused on Amazon. So learned a lot about sponsored ads. So my whole career, I was just an ad guy, media buyer. Afterwards, myself and my two founders, Ron and Ankit, we started a boutique agency called Ghost 3 Media, where we worked on several brands, primarily focusing on like health and wellness. So we were pretty much gearing up for what was inevitably our launch of Obvi, where we went into the health and beauty space and took the collagen industry by storm. So here's what we're chewing on today. Understanding your numbers to craft the perfect offer, diversifying your creative advertising and things like that, and then how do you implement the correct account structure within Facebook. There's a lot of arguments between manual bidding, automatic bidding, and I'm going to tell you that there's a use case for everything. So hopefully one may resonate with your business and you can take it from there. So first things first, you can't do anything without understanding your numbers, right? So last year, all right, let me ask you guys a question, right? When you guys are analyzing your marketing performance, right? Who's looking at your CPA most of the time? None of you guys are looking at your CPAs?
Really got to work them to get them to raise their hand.
Okay. So that was the first thing we were always looking at. We said, hey, finance team, what's the number that we have to hit to acquire a customer? They gave us this like kind of standard number, said, hey, $50, you're good to go, right? But it doesn't account for your AOV and things like that, right? So the next number that we moved to was new customer ROAS, right? Does anybody use new customer ROAS here? You know, no? Okay, cool. So then the biggest thing with that is that, again, it doesn't account for how much profit you're making per order, or if you're losing money, if you're making money, because we all want to be profitable on the first order to kind of solidify the business, right? So I want to talk to you about contribution margin. Who here knows what contribution margin is? Fantastic, great. A few of you here, so nice. We'll teach you something here, right? So contribution margin is basically either a positive number or a negative number, right? Positive number meaning it's adding to the business, or if it's negative, it's taking away from the business. Simple as that, right? So how do you calculate your contribution margin, right? So you take your MSRP, take out your cost of goods, you take out your discounts, you take out your shipping costs, take out your processing fees, you take out your CAC. You're taking out every single variable cost that's associated with your business, and you're left with either a positive number or a negative number, right? If you're in the negative, you're losing money per order, right? If you're in the positive, you're contributing to the business, okay? Now, one step closer is when you are running your marketing, you want to understand, am I breaking even, profitable, or negative, right? And so the best way to do this is you take your MSRP and divide it by the net profit before CAC, and you get a break-even ROAS, right? So these were the things that we weren't necessarily looking at for the longest time, and we were losing money on the first order, right? We were a consumable company, so we had a lot of retention revenue. We did 26 product launches in 2021. So there was a lot of recurring revenue that came in, and nobody was really looking at like, hey, is acquisition hurting us, or is it contributing to the business? It wasn't until we kind of stopped doing these product launches and like artificially inflating returning revenue did we realize that we might have a problem, right? So again, I was so focused on improving our conversion rate on our landing pages, trying to bump up that AOV, chasing revenue, and I didn't really account for our variable costs, right? And we ran bad offers, we were losing money on the first order, put ourselves into a pretty shitty position, right? So I'll give you an example of an offer we were running here, right? This, just looking at it, is a great looking offer, right? If you buy a 6-month supply, you get a 40% discount, you get free samples, you get a free gummies, you get a free shaker cup. If you buy a 3-month, supply, you get a free product, whatever it is. Like, it would be a no-brainer for you to buy the products, right? You're getting so much value out of it, right? But the thing is that there's the thing as offering way too much or having too much value, right? That the fact that it hurts the business, right? So this is an example of what seemingly is, for me, like, oh, I'm gonna make the best offer possible. I'm gonna run ads. It's gonna have a high conversion rate, high AOV. People are gonna love the product, and let's just run it, right? Wrong. The problem here is that I've added so much to my cost of goods, right? Samples, the gummies, the shaker cup, the discounts, that I actually have to be so efficient on my ads to even break even on this, right? So in the attempts of increasing our conversion rate, kind of fucked ourselves, right? So give you an example of what we're running today. A lot less flashy, a lot less, very offery type of positioning. But one thing that we did was we removed the free gifts, okay? And we did this by A/B testing the offer. So showed this versus the old one, and we just removed the free gifts, okay? Now, anticipating a conversion rate drop, but was it just enough where we could be a little bit closer to break even than if we were to like, if for example, actually let's move to the next slide real quick, where to be completely transparent, the break even return, I had to be at a 2x return on the first offer, and I had to be at a 1.44x on this offer, right? So if you're running ads on Facebook, what do you think is what is easier to obtain at scale, right? Either a 2x return or a 1.4 return, right? Obviously, I'm gonna go for the 1.4. I can use CRO tips and do a bunch of A/B testing on this landing page to bring up the conversion rate. But if you told me, hey, you gotta spend 20K a day and try to achieve a 2x consistently, you're out of your mind, right? So here's an example where, one, we also increased the price, right? So one of the takeaways here is don't be afraid to increase your price, right? If you can showcase the value in your landing pages, where if you see the 1-month supply, before it was $29.99. Now it's $39.99, right? So I'm making a little bit more margin. So you're saying, oh, well, if you increase your price, are you gonna decrease your conversion rate? Yes, you will. But the way to bring that back up is through CRO, A/B testing on your landing page, the social proof. Everything that Sharma was saying is how do you showcase the value out of your product and make sure that that increase in price is showing value to the consumer, right? So like I said, we switched to this offer right off the bat. Conversion rate dropped a little bit, but I knew that I could obtain a 1.4x return on my ad spend a lot easier than a 2x, okay? So here's some offers to test out in your business. Bundling, like we had over here, right? We sell a 1-month supply of a product, a 30-day supply. By bundling the same product, you're able to offer a little bit of a discount, and you're basically increasing your AOV, right? If I was to only sell the 1-month supply, my AOV would have been $40, which is tough to get a decent enough CAC on Facebook. So by doing this, you're basically increasing your AOV where you can afford a higher CAC, right? And the brands that can afford a higher CAC are going to be the most successful in the long run, right? So bundling is one way. BOGO offers. One of the offers that we're running right now is a buy 2 get 1 free, right? So you're not necessarily associating a discount with your brand, but you're giving value in other ways. Cashback offers. We're using a platform called Fondue. Have you guys heard of Fondue recently? Yeah, Postgroup just acquired these guys. If you're running discounts, you're basically taking money off the top line, and that's gone. With cashback, you're basically giving customers the option to redeem a cashback in a form of a gift card after they purchase, right? So they're paying full price up front, and then you're giving them a gift card in the back end. But what ends up happening is that only 50% of the people don't even touch the gift card, right? 30% of the people actually take this gift card in the form of a store credit, so back to Obvi, and then 20% taking a Visa gift card, right? So it's one way to change the strategy between discount and cashback, and then gift with purchase, right? So those are a couple things that you can test out on your landing pages offer. So one, always consider price testing. Like I said, we increased our price by $10, which is almost 33%. Not much of a huge change in conversion rate. Always consider price anchoring. So the way that I do it over here is I show the 6 month first, the 3 month, and then the 1 month. So you're basically price anchoring. It's a very interesting way of increasing your AOV without affecting your conversion rate. And then just clear communication around your offer. Don't be slick with it. Just, hey, you're getting this discount, good, okay? Offer mistakes to avoid. Don't be adding too many free gifts like I did. We were losing money on it. The higher break-even target, right? The harder it will be to scale. And if you have a product with different AOV and margins, you need to calculate different break-even points for those different products, right? And then that is how you also set up your different account structures in your Facebook account. So let's talk about creatives quickly. We had a major creative diversity problem. Luckily, we had a rep at Meta that basically put this together for us, right? So what I would do here is maybe take a picture of this, right? It's basically this 4-quadrant chart, and you want to be able to fill up each quadrant with your styles of creatives, right? You don't want to rely on one type of creative in your ad account. You want to have different ones, right? Different people react to different types of creative. So between static and video, you're going to have your lo-fi type of content, which is content from your customers. Your polished content, which is whether you have lifestyle photography, professional photo shoots. You want to make sure you have a mix of everything, right? And you can see like the bottom right corner is where we were heavily indexed on, but like the top right, bottom left, like we didn't really have that much. So there was an opportunity to fill those gaps and improve our efficiency just by having more diversity, right? And then another way to really split this up is static video and having emotional benefits, where if you have a personal problem, you kind of want to tap on that a little bit versus product benefits. So those are different ways to split up the creative. Types of video ads to consider running. I know we're going to get into this a little bit more, but creator-generated content, right? I think everybody is using UGC, but I think it's great for certain purposes. Customer-generated content, this is what's working really well for us. We literally ask our consumers, hey, can you take 10 minutes of your time, hop on a Zoom call with one of us, record the Zoom call, ask them about their experience with the product, and then we literally chop that 10-minute video up into these 30, 60-second segments, and those crush in our ad account. And then taking those and creating different mashups, reply videos. I'm sure you guys have seen these on TikTok and Instagram where you're replying to a comment. It looks super native to the platform, so definitely test those out. Founder videos, if you are not camera shy, definitely get in front of a camera and talk about why you started the business. People love the stories behind the brand. Bonus points if you can whitelist your own account, meaning set up a profile for yourself and run the ads behind that so it looks even more native. 3D render animations, basically taking your product, making it wiggle around, have some call outs, this and that. And then podcast style, which I think is going to be the next biggest type of creative, where people are talking about your product on a podcast, whether it's scripted or not. It looks super native. Type of static ads, these are crushing our ad account. Sometimes videos don't even perform anymore, which is why we'll rely on the static ads. But we do lifestyle banner ads, UGC banner ads, and product render banner ads. So when I say banner ads, I'm talking about taking your product, sticking a massive headline on it, like the angles that even Sharma was talking about, literally calling out the user, calling out the audience that you really want to your product is the key here, right? And the way to really come up with these headlines is look through your reviews, look through your comments, and see what people are talking about, and see how you can resonate on your ads, right? Then you got review ads, community ads. These are really simple, taking one of the best reviews and literally copying them onto a nice presented ad. Those do really well. And if you're in a category that's competitive, doing an us versus them, right? So having your points about why you're better than, say for example, Obvi versus a Vital Proteins, right? What are the differences between why we're better and showcasing that? And then news and media, right? If you guys follow some of these accounts like a Fuck Jerry or whatever it is, like they have these very noticeable media type of posts and they look native, everybody's using them. So if you have any like, I guess, articles or PR, you can pretty much turn those into ads. And then the last thing I want to talk about is ideal meta account structures. Little bit of a debate on Twitter, if you guys are on there, cost caps versus highest value. I think the best way to come about this is if you're looking for volume, right? And you're trying to grow the business and you have to hit revenue targets, I think highest volume is the best way to go, right? The way that I set up our ad account or have done it in the past is basically if you're testing, I test in a ABO format, meaning I'm testing each angle, right? Whether it's creative, like static ads, video ads, I'm testing them in their own ad sets, right? I'm not using CBO, going broad, excluding customers. Each ad set, like I said, it's its own angle, and I'm using DCT to set up the ads, right? So I got about 4 different ads, 3 different, copies, 1 headline, and just letting it run, right? Basically pulling out these winners and tossing them into an ASC campaign, which is Facebook's new style or way of running campaigns. Basically taking all the winners and sticking them in there, right? Some nuances there is that I take static ads and I make their own ASC campaign. I take videos and I make them their own campaign. So definitely take a picture of this. I know we're pushing up on time, so I want to run through this real quick. Cost caps, right? So if you ever run cost caps, basically this is when your goal is efficiency, right? Not a lot of brands can pull this off because 1, it requires a ton of creative output. 2, you need to have some type of organic presence, right? For Obvi, we're nationwide in Walmart. We have a Facebook community of over 70,000 people. So if we're not really running ads, you still have the distribution between these 2 massive assets, right? Our creative team is pretty big, so we're pumping out anywhere from 50 to 100 ads a week. So we can satisfy this type of structure. But cost caps is basically, you're telling Facebook, hey, this is my CPA. I don't want to spend more than this. And if you get this, spend all you can, right? So on the days like, for example, today, it's Prime Day, right? Everybody's shopping on Amazon. I'm sure, at least I was just looking at our ad account. It sucks today, right? Because everybody's probably seeing an ad and seeing if we're running a Prime Day deal. So on website, conversion rate's going to drop. But those are the days where I want Facebook to kind of restrain the spend. And it has, right? So the way that I do this is I have a campaign for each type of angle / product, right? So if I'm talking about our collagen protein and I want to talk about the hair benefits, that's going to be its own campaign, right? Again, we're always going broad, basically, setting the demographic, age, excluding customers, and I'm running 4 to 6 different ads, right? And these ads are coming from our creative team. I tell them, hey, I want 4 ads around hair, I want 4 ads around skincare, I want 4 ads around weight loss, and those become 3 different campaigns, right? So the way that we kind of adjust our bidding is we set it to the break-even CAC, which the formula was on the first slide, setting it to that break-even CAC, and then adjusting from there, right? If the business has a positive contribution margin on a new customer, I'm jumping that bid up. If I'm in the negatives or break even, I'm kind of pulling back just so that we can get back into that positive. And yeah, I know we have a little bit of time left, but follow me on social. I'm on Twitter at Ash Melwani. We do a little bit of consulting on MentorPass. And Ron and I have a podcast called Chew on This. We have a newsletter as well. 15,000 subscribers there. We're sending out a newsletter twice a week, something to chew on your lunch break on a Wednesday, and something to kind of really digest on your Sunday. So thank you for your time.
So just a little backstory. Alex and Ash have known them both for a long time. As we were prepping for the summit that we decided we were going to do about 3 weeks ago, that's the running joke on our team is we decided to do this about 3 weeks ago. But anyways, so a couple of months ago, I was talking to Alex and Ash about what's some, trying to pull content out, like what would be interesting for the group here. And Alex, I heard the story from you. And Ash, we were talking, and I was like, it may not be the same presentation, but there's so much overlap. So Alex, I'm gonna kick it over to you for a minute. Let's start at the end where you are right now. So just give everyone some context. How big is your influencer campaign strategy? That's number of adding, like total number you're adding per month, how much creative you're getting from that. And I'm gonna walk that back to 3-4 years ago, which is gonna overlap some of what Ash was going through.
Okay, sure. Yeah. So I was talking to Brad a couple months ago about, we've grown a lot in the last couple of years. And I think one of the biggest things that has helped us grow for organic growth and paid growth is our influencer program. And at Ogee, like we always found that, like to Ash's point about the creatives, like one of the creatives that performed the best was our UGC, but it was just hard to get it. And we were like, it was kind of like a side focus of one of our employees to like try to reach out to influencers and get creatives. And at one point I decided like we need to just hire someone just solely focused on this and get like 50 creatives per month or whatever. And so we did that. We hired someone to just, their only job was to reach out to influencers or creators, get content that we can use in ads and also that they post organically. And it was so successful, hard to measure in some ways, but just the unlimited creative stream we had for paid social that now we have 4 in-house people that all they do all the time is just reach out to influencers to get new content and then have like exciting things to keep the influencers that are already in the program to post more. So now we're at a point where we send out between 750 and 1,000 products a month to 750 or 1,000 different people every month. And a big portion of that is new people that haven't been in our program. And then a certain amount is people that have already posted about us once that did a good job and want to retain in there. And then we just take that, like up until recently, like the 4 quadrant you showed, like we don't have enough hi-fi content and some of the other ones because we just have literally like an endless amount of influencer creatives. And with Facebook, like creatives win, like now, like creative do the targeting, like you need creatives, and a lot of them, like instead of looking for a unicorn audience to target, like we just try to find a unicorn ad that you can spend millions of dollars on sometimes with one ad. And that influencer pipeline we have is what does it, in addition to the organic growth it's given us.
You use a lot of that UGC content on your site as well, right? It's a direct correlation to your CRO program.
Yeah, we use it everywhere. And like one of the people that spoke earlier about CRO, like the social proof, I think Nick Sharma mentioned it, and like using social proof and like influencers, like that is like a great social proof to have, and using that on product pages, on landing pages. Like we use it in so many places now that it's like, it's not just ads, it's like all across the brand. And it's a big cost and, amount of employees we have in the program. But like if we were to like shoot that content, for one thing, it wouldn't be as authentic.
Yeah.
And for 2, like the cost to shoot that amount of content, like we couldn't do it,
Yeah. So Ash, with your quadrant, maybe this question for both of you, did you look at that quadrant? Maybe you had the quadrant or you didn't, but just in your head, like, I know we need all these different variations. Do we do it in-house or do we go the influencer route? Is that a conversation that you guys had on your teams?
Well, we didn't have that. We were trying to get successful with Facebook ads in the beginning. We were trying to shoot all this hi-fi content. We had very little money to do it, and we'd get grandiose about it. And what would happen was nothing would happen. We'd like talk about, we got to do this video shoot and get all crazy. We got to get these models. We're in Vermont. There's like no models. There's no, people to shoot it. Like, oh, we got to go to California. We got to do this, and nothing would happen. Then one of my friends like, just film this lady that works for you and have her like say why she likes Ogee on your iPhone. And that worked better than anything we'd ever used. And so then we started filming everyone at Ogee, and then we're like, man, we got to stop filming these same people at Ogee. And that's when like we're like, this is what works. And we just went like 100% into it. And that's like, we're too far in that one spot in the quadrant chart there now.
Yeah, I think if you got an opportunity to take a picture of that quadrant, I think working backwards, right, is if you're kind of starting out or you're kind of midway there, work backwards and figure out what pieces of content need to go in there and how do you actually acquire that, right? So for example, the hi-fi, the polished, I consider those like influencer. I guess the way that I look at it is I consider it influencer because those are the people that have the right equipment to film properly, right? The lo-fi being your consumers who are just filming off, whether we're recording them on Zoom or whatever it is, right? And then static, right? Lo-fi meaning, hey, like a customer took a picture with the bottle. Polish being, we have the lifestyle photo shoots. We use this service called Suna, basically book out models and they're holding the bottle. So going like setting up, hey, I need this type of creative and working backwards, I think it's probably the easiest way that we just started doing that. And then I'll go and pretty much allocate the those creatives to the team, the right people on the team, and say, hey, go and get this, and let's make this. And here, I need 5 of these, 5 of these, 5 of these, 5 of these. And then, like you said, lead into what's working. But I still think it's very important to have that diversity because every single person is looking at an ad differently, and you're never gonna know what actually hits them as relevant. So being able to fill up that gap is crucial.
Let's say there's a few people in the crowd that are thinking, how do I? Yeah, they might be running a few influencers and starting the early stages. What would you, based on your years of experience and all learning lessons, both good and bad, what would you say to those people here that are like, how do I get started? So what are learning lessons, any tips that you can share that someone can walk away and implement?
I would say for us, like, do what I did or what we did at the time and just film like some of your employees or the founders talking about the product, and then like friends and family, you know, like most of our influencer content that works isn't because anyone knows who that influencer is. It's just because they made like a good piece of content that was convincing and they like our brand and talked about it well. So it's easy to like get overcomplicated and think you need these huge famous influencers. But for us, that's not what's done it. It's like, so just start like, don't overcomplicate it. Just get like someone who works for you, get yourself, get your friends, family to make videos, and experiment with those and see what works and what type of person and how they talk about it, and then lean more into those. You can get a lot for like a really low amount of money, just like free product a lot of times. And you can scale a long ways. You can go a long ways with just the easiest stuff like that.
One thing that I would say is, especially if you're looking for like UGC style, right, creator generated content, if you can't really get a hold of your consumers, I think there's certain brands that do really well for this, right? So for Obvi, creator generated content doesn't necessarily always work because it's like, it doesn't really come across as authentic as literally a customer telling you exactly what they were going through and then what the solution was, right? But then we have a brand, right? We just acquired a coffee brand. You can use a creator for that. So the way that we started doing this is, instead of using these UGs, forgive me if anybody in here is a UGC creator, but like the self-proclaimed UGC creator, right? Unless you have a following, I don't believe that your content does well, right? I want to go and find those people that are 50 to 100,000 followers. There's a reason you have a following. It's because your content is good, and I want to work with you because you can produce good content. And typically they're okay with producing content at $50 to $100 if they're not required to post on their socials. So go and find those people. And then for the seeding, right, we do anyone that's over 100,000 followers, right? So the goal there is to get that organic reach, right? Sending them a care package, something that's beautiful, a handwritten note, incentivizing them to post something on their social that gives you the organic reach, which in turn helps your efficiency on paid, right? And then you can later down, one, use their content, two, put them into affiliate program where you can offer them 30 to 50% commission and have them posting regularly, right? So again, furthering that organic reach. So I think there's a difference between maybe the different creators, but that's the approach for what we're doing.
Can I touch on that a little bit more too? Yeah. So, when we started seeding creators or influencers, we were going after people in the beauty space, and we started sending out, and we found those people get a lot of offers. They all have agents. They want a ton of money. They want a really complicated contract. And then I was like, well, actually, the main thing we want is like creatives to run for ads, because we're spending millions of dollars a month on ads. And so let's just look for people that have followers that are like in an adjacent interest, like, we're organic, so like yoga or outdoor living or healthy foods, and go after those people. And the only criteria is they have like a following that might be interested in Ogee, and they make good content. And we don't really care if they have 1,000 followers or 1 million. Like, if they meet those two criteria, then we send them free product. And most of the time, like, our product's like fairly high value. We can get all the content for free product alone. And so I'd say just make a criteria that works for you, and don't target the people that are getting hit with every other brand in your space, because they're gonna be a lot harder to work with.
Yeah, I was gonna tee that up for you because it's a really good tip, because we were talking about it. It's like, yeah, the 1,000 to 750 to 1,000 new ones you're reaching out to, a lot of them are 1,000 followers, 5,000 followers. It's not the big ones that you might think when you hear the word influencer, it is the people, they have influence over their small micro network. So 1,000 per month, and if there's 500 new influencers you're adding per month, if you're doing that over multiple years, that's a big number. That compounds over time.
Yeah, and it's like the spider web effect. Like I used to always think this. You think like, oh, it's Oprah that made this brand or this celebrity, but like the reason it got to Oprah or that celebrity is because of this like spider web of like this person with 1,000 followers, this with 50, this like your friend over here, your family member, and they all like talk about it, and then it reaches up to like Halle Berry earlier this year posted about Ogee and said, "This is my favorite makeup ever." And like, it looked like we paid her. It looked like we sponsored her. Like we didn't do anything. She just did that on her own. And I'm sure it's because like we have thousands of creators, like small, medium, large, talking about us, creating the spider web that like helps build the brand to then get the big people to like want to talk to you. Or even when we reach out to bigger influencers now, they're like, "Oh my God, I've seen you guys everywhere." They're like willing to speak to us without their agent, which they didn't used to. So.
Let's
The agents suck.
Yeah.
that's a wrap. If it's not obvious, two extremely talented, smart, very grateful for you guys making a trip here and sharing your wisdom, putting time in the presentation and deck. Hopefully everyone got value. They're around. Are you both going on the boat? Of course. Mm-hmm. All right, so hit them up, talk influencer UGC, get Ash into your Facebook account. We'll start making some tunes and tweaking. We are going to go into a 10-minute break, and then we got 2 sessions left. Oh, okay. How about like a 3-minute break? Just everyone can stand up and like loosen up. But anyways, let's give these two guys, Alex and Ash, a round of applause.